Hello, good day. So, in this particular work, I'm going to be talking about how to be financially independent. It's a very short one, so it's not so elaborate as to probably take so much of our time. But I just realized that over the course of history, there has been people who have contributed so much to human existence, probably via their scholarly work, academic work, their philosophical work, and some others have done so by virtue of their, their wealth that they have gathered. So many of them had wealth. Sometimes we'll talk about wealth being ill-gotten, but truth be told, what matters most of the time is the fact that you still have something to point out to say, I was able to gather this in my lifetime. So this has also led the fact that resources are scarce, has made it a point of struggle, that people struggle so much to get these resources. So that's why I decided to look at it from the point of talking about financial independence. So I've looked at it. I said, that's, hold on, I'll be back shortly. So I said financial independence is ordinarily a very broad concept. It's a very broad concept. So when I looked at that, I made that more like an introduction so that we can now look at the house. The house means how one can actually be financially independent. I said it can be achieved through many ways apart from working for others, meaning that having to work for others, in truth, can rarely grant that financial independence that one would ordinarily desire so much. So it means for you to get that financial independence, you have to look for ways to be your own boss. That's the first rule of financial independence. That's how to make it work. You have to look for ways to become your own boss at all costs. That's very important. So I said one way is to have multiple sources of income, multiple streams of income. Like I read somewhere about Warren Buffett, now formerly the second richest man in the world, but now the third richest man in the world. I read about him. I realized that all he does is to invest in numerous businesses, meaning that if he sees maybe a phone booth and somebody tells him this can rake in maybe 200 naira, or let's say 2,000 naira per day, the man is always ready to open up as much as 1 million phone booths. Let me multiply 2,000 naira by 1 million. You understand what we're talking about there? That's huge. So it means for him have a regular, a multiple source of income. It helps you to have a large chunk of funds coming from different angles and coming per seconds. So that's one. So I said one can have these multiple sources of income by learning the art of doing business, by learning trade, by apprenticeship, by involving in peer-to-peer financial platforms like MMM. Financial donation platforms, sorry about that, like MMM. So when I said one can get to learn, one can do this, one can be financially independent by multiples of income, and these multiples of income can be achieved by learning the art of doing business, learning trade, by apprenticeship, and by involving. So I'm not saying you have to learn one of these. In fact, if in your lifetime you have the opportunity of learning all of this at the same time, sure, there's nothing there, because you are doing business somewhere, like maybe you have a shop where things are moving, you're selling, or maybe you are in the market where you do this regular buying and selling, or business cuts across so many aspects too. You can possibly also be a consultant. You can be how will I put it? Like you can also do more of contracts. It's all about business, about how much you're able to rake in, at the end of the day, legitimately. Okay. And then you can, that's why I said for all of them, you can do them all simultaneously. What matters most is how you are able to manage yourself. Okay. So, and I said some factors also come to mind in doing this. One of them is major, one of them which is major is risk. Okay. Some factors come to mind. A lot of factors actually come to mind in doing all of this. One of them, which for me is major, is risk. Okay, so we'll be talking about risk now. So, for risk, risk is the cost of doing a thing. What will I lose if my investment in this activity crashes? Now, in economics, we call it opportunity cost. So, opportunity cost ordinarily means what is the cost of doing a thing and leaving another. Like, I need to buy a mango. I need to buy maybe an orange, but the orange goes for 5 naira, the mango goes for say 10 naira. Let's assume I have 10 naira, okay, and then I need to make a choice. Which of them matters the most to me? Is it the mango? Is it the orange? So it means if I'm buying the orange, I'll be forfeiting buying the mango. If I'm buying the mango, I'll be forfeiting buying the orange. So, for instance, if I go ahead to buy a mango, what do I lose by not having the orange? If I go ahead to buy the orange, what do I get to lose by not proceeding to buy the other? So, that's, for me, is risk. Okay? So that if, for instance, you have the option of going into a business, you also have the option of not going into it. Now, if you decide to proceed to go ahead with the business, and, you have two options, going, not going. There is a risk in going in. There is a risk in not going in. The risk in going in is that you could lose your money. The risk in not going in is that you may remain stagnant. In fact, there could be setback. In fact, the truth be told, money understands one language, spend me. Meaning that if you keep money for too long, the tendency to spend it will always be there because human needs are insatiable. Every day we have needs. Okay, so that's why I said it's the cost of doing a thing. Okay, so risk, as it were, is if I lose my money going into this investment, and also let's say I go into the investment and I lose my money outrightly, would it not have been better that I kept the money so that over time I can be making use of it until I'm able to lay my hands on something with which I can grow? So it's always a case of what do I lose, what do I gain if I do, if I don't do. Okay. Time has made us realize that activities with higher risk, time has made us realize that activities with higher risk tend to reward more if it scales through. Meaning that the higher the risk, the higher the reward. Time has proven that to be true. Okay, and the lower the risk, the lower the reward. Okay, this probably explains why most big risk takers continue to do so and get even bigger with time. Okay. And there's this popular saying that not taking a risk is a risk in itself. Meaning that even though we realize that deciding not to do anything is an option, it's a bigger risk in truth. It's a bigger risk. So it's better to just keep moving. Like I read on Facebook when a friend posted yesterday. He said, if you are going through hell, keep moving. Meaning that if things are difficult, keep moving. Because if you decide not to move, you only make things continue to be difficult. And when somebody says if you are going through hell, keep moving, it means that if you decide to stay because you are going through hell, you decide to stand, it means you will burn to ashes. That's just what it means. Not taking risk at all is risk in itself. Let the donation continue. In conclusion, let's take the risk. Let's rule the world. Let's change the world. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much, and that is the end. Thank you, and may God bless you all abundantly. Amen. That's all.